Hey guys, my name is Shawn Ziem, the Connection Machine, aka the Insurance Doctor, and the host for the Webtalk Legends Podcast. This is number 70, and it's all about listening to our guests share their story, their trials and tribulations, things that happened in their past, and take some notes, learn from, implement, take action on some of the things we're talking about in this conversation. A couple housekeeping rules. If you're watching us live, at least drop a hashtag live in the comments. If you're on the replay, hashtag replay. If you are one step further, you like to help people that are providing value, drop a comment where you're watching from. And if you are during the conversation, have a favorite emoji, the pound, the thumbs up, the fire, what have you. Drop that in the comments when you are agreeing with what we're talking about. If you disagree, hit that thumbs down. Let's see. And if you have questions, drop them in the comments as well. Let me bring on a friend of mine, rphilip. What's going on, man? How are you?
Shawn, it's good to see you. I miss you, man.
Likewise, man. I haven't seen you in a while since COVID hit, and now we're at least we could see us. We're live on video, and we're gonna drop some massive value because I know you have some value that you can bring to the table no matter what. So before we get started, we have, just so you know, this is how far things are. We have Scott Gerard from Australia. He is the CEO of Legends Projects. Australia, we're going to have people from UK, from Puerto Rico, from USA, anywhere in the country. We're going to have a variety of people popping in. So who are you and what do you do, Ryan?
All right. So, as you said, my name is rphilip. I grew up in Nutley, New Jersey. Live in Bloomfield now. I graduated from Nutley High and I went to Seton Hall. After Seton Hall, I graduated. I went into the work world, and it's easier to find out what you don't like to do than what you do like to do, Shawn. So, eventually, I settled in. My buddy was working for the bank in New York in reverse mortgages. He told me to come check it out. And I fell in love with the program, fell in love with the product. So that's what I do. I do reverse mortgages, and I've been doing them exclusively for over 17 years now.
17 years, man. If no matter what, you're putting the time in, you have the lumps, I'm sure, right? You had the good times, the bad times, things that you could talk about for sure. Seton Hall. Tell us about Seton Hall. What were you majoring when you were back at that time in your life?
So the funny thing about college, not too many people in my family went to college. I just went because I was supposed to go. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be what I was going to do. And, I did well because I learned how to memorize when I was very young. And a lot of schooling is memorization.
Yep.
So, I graduated there. I majored in finance. I minored in communications. And it was just because I didn't know what I wanted to do. They came back to me and said, Ryan, you can go to school for one more year and get your master's. And I was like, what's a master's? I'm out of here. Do I regret that? Yeah, part of me regrets that, but it was a good experience. I graduated and I won a Wall Street Journal award.
Wow.
Yeah, which is given to one senior in the class. Now, funny story, when I graduated from Seton Hall, to be honest, I don't like attention, Shawn. Oddly, in sales, we have to do things to garner attention for ourselves. But I told my mom, I said, Mom, I don't care to go to my graduation. I'll go if you want me to. And my mom said, it's okay. You don't have to go. So my buddy comes home from graduation and says, congratulations, you won the Wall Street Journal Award. And I'm like, oh, wow. I didn't even know what it was. But I felt bad. The teacher that nominated me for that award, I called him. I thanked him. I felt bad that I didn't go for him because he was an excellent teacher. And just to tell you, I know you teach too, Shawn, right?
Yep.
To tell you the impact of teachers, I love that guy. And I haven't seen him since I graduated in 2001. I just saw an alumni dinner to celebrate his retirement. And I think I'm going to go to that. To tell you the power of a teacher 22 years later, that I still feel like I want to, pay him some homage.
No, it's something that I found. I've been teaching. I just finished my 21st year. And I feel like yesterday when I first started, but it flies. I'm in the best field as far as phys ed, health, and driver's ed.
Right.
So it's a movement. I get people, I get the kids going. I enjoy it, and we love that. We love when people come back and see us,
Right.
and we love to see the successful ones. There's a lot of them come back. They're like bums. And I'll tell them, like, "What are you doing?" But it's great to see them when they're successful and they have their head on their shoulders, and they're married or they have kids, etc. It's good to see, and but it's funny you brought up as far as memorization in school and college. In college, it's not for everybody, right? It's not something that you have to go to today, but that's the world that we're in. The USA, we're programmed, we're kind of like brainwashed to go to school, to get a job, to go down that path. Is it something that, how can we help those that are contemplating going to college or not? How can we help them?
So my advice and what I will try to instill in my son, is to go to a local college. If he's unsure of what he wants to do, go to a local college and see what path you want to take in life. Learn it, intern different places, try different things. If you find a path and you need the schooling for it, then I'll pay for whatever I can for you. But if, I'm not sure if I got the value out of college. Like, I'm in sales, right? I don't know that I necessarily needed that. I appreciated it and I learned some things, but I don't know if I needed it for my particular field. So that would be my advice, is to try a bunch of different things first. And then when you find your path, then hit it hard.
I like that. And Charlene from Northwest Florida is here. Thanks so much, Charlene. And I agree with you. Like you finding what you really love. And college, I believe it's something that it's all about who you get to be around. That's where it can help you tremendously if you really have that mindset. If you just go there to party, to drink, you can do that anytime. I would just spend 15, 20, 30,000 a year to drink. You could do that at home. But I agree. Go to a community college, see if it's for you. Maybe you're in a field that you have to have it, then go down that path.
Right. Then take it as far as you can. I'm with
Right.
you there. Yeah.
And like you said, with going for a master's in certain fields, it's really not as important as it could be. So now, how many kids do you have, Ryan?
I have one. I have a boy who just turned 4, May 3rd.
How was that as far as changing from Ryan, the single, well, getting married, and then having a kid? How were you before you were married? As far as how did it change you?
Huh. It's interesting, right? That's a great question. So I could have went either way with kids, um, before I had one, of course. Then once you have one, you realize, everyone always used to say my demeanor, my patience level was going to be good to be a father. My wife may say something different, but after I had him, boy, I remember a memory when I was in the hospital and my wife just had the baby. A guy shook my hand and said, "Now you're going to learn what love is." And that stuck with me since that day. You learn a different type of love that you never had before. I don't know if you're capable of having that. And boy, the best way I can describe it is if he needed my heart to live, I'd be on my way to the hospital right now. That's the best way I can describe that love. So it really didn't change a lot of my lifestyle because I wasn't, we didn't do a whole lot of crazy partying or anything like that. I mean, in our 20s, but I was 40 when I had him. So we were ready. We were ready. And we had to go through a lot of different steps to have them. So, I'm grateful for the science and the technology.
I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I have 4 kids.
I see. I see.
The last one, there was no help involved, and it was wow, okay. And I thought I was be a girl dad.
Right.
And I have my son, And
What a treat.
it changes you, man. It definitely, now you're why you wake up every single day to do what you do, to create for your family, is so powerful now than if it was you grow up when you have a kid.
You do, and that mindset, it's like even back in the days of partying, or you drink a lot, or whatever you do, you smoke, whatever you do. Like now, when I have a kid, it's always in the back of my mind that I got to be ready in case something goes wrong. Even like once in a while, we got to relax, Shawn. But something like there's always something built in the back of my mind that if he needs me, I got to be there.
And you are a dad that you were around, you were present, you were not just, a lot of people are in business or trying to make as much money as possible and they're never around. And you have a 4-year-old son. I have a 16-year-old, but I have a 4, a 2, and I have a 7-month-old. And they always talk about this. You see this on TikTok a lot. The first 4 years in the child's development, if you're not around, you can't get that again. It's lost. It's completely gone. So being present, keeping the phone down, being really having fun with your kids is powerful. It's for them and their development.
And COVID, for as many negative things as it caused, it allowed me to work from home during the first 4 years of his life. I mean, I spent so much time, so I'm very grateful for that, because you know how it is. You wake up in the morning and you're excited to go in the room and see him every day.
And it's important that people understand they're always looking at us, and they're always going to take notes, and they're going to see how dad reacts.
Right.
And if you do certain things, and they keep that in their mind, and it's great to be around. It's great but making sure people understand they're watching us. Every single thing we do and say, they're watching what we're doing.
It's tough. Everything we do has consequence. Like if I went in one time, I dropped him off at daycare, and I let the kid. One time I said goodbye, Mac, and he slapped my hand. And I pretended like I fell. Now every day I drop off at daycare, the kids line up to slap my hand. And I can't say no at this point. Even the kids that were too shy are coming over, and I have to pretend that it hurt and that I fall. But that's just an analogy for you do something once, and like they always want to see it.
Yep.
It sticks with them.
No, it's so true. And I want to pivot, and I want to go down, because I know I haven't really discussed, for those that are watching, we've had people on that do mortgages, but no one that has done reverse mortgages. Now, Ryan's been specializing in this for over 17 years, and I would love to hear, and for us to learn, what is it? How does it how does it go about? And is it something that could be bad for people, for if you are one that is a son or a daughter, if your parents getting a reverse mortgage, are they losing out on a house? God forbid something happens to them down the road.
Right. So, one of the simplest explanations I heard recently about a reverse mortgage and what it is, I liked it. Someone told me, he said, it's a mortgage for seniors where payments are optional. I'm like, you know what? I like that. Just simple and right there. So, but what it is, it's a loan against your home's equity. We loan you a percentage of the home's value based upon your age. And the big difference between this and any other type of loan are no payments are required until you sell the home, you pass away, or the home's no longer your primary residence. Okay, so you always have to keep up with your property taxes, your homeowner's insurance, general maintenance of the home. The money is income tax free. So it's very flexible, because it's not considered income, it's considered loan proceeds. It's very flexible in its use. You can use a reverse mortgage to buy a home. A lot of people don't know that. I was just speaking at the Greater Bergen Realtor Association today about this very program. You can buy a home. You want to age in place. You need some home care. You want to get rid of your monthly mortgage payments and pay off your regular mortgage. You want to enjoy your life. So I had a family member that did a reverse mortgage about a year ago with me. And I gave her 3 pieces of paper. And I said, wrote down the numbers. And this is what helps people when they're looking and planning, write down your numbers on a piece of paper so you can see them in front of you, because they answer the questions 90% of the times when you
Mm-hmm.
take the emotion out of it. So I gave her 3 pieces of paper. I said, hey, here's what happens if you continue on the path you are. Here's what happens if you sell the home and go rent. Here's what happens if you do a reverse mortgage. And ultimately she decided that that was the right path for her. And it's all about peace of mind. I love educating. There's so many misconceptions out there. So many people don't understand it. So I love educating people. I love seniors, and the difference that it makes in their lives is drastic. It is drastic. So you mentioned with kids and heirs and everything, and that's an interesting topic. We can do a whole show on that, Shawn. Sometimes some of the negative perceptions of reverse mortgages come from where a kid may have thought they were inheriting mom and dad's $500,000 home, and then they find out that there's a loan against it. So maybe they're not inheriting quite as much. So they may badmouth it, but not really understand that mom and dad lived off that money for the last 10 years of their life comfortably. So I'm all about inheritance, Shawn, but I've become a little jaded about that in this business, you know, and if you can afford to leave an inheritance, awesome, great, well done. But not to do that at the expense of your own well-being.
Right.
Right. I mean, so that's a big thing that I have to talk to people about and I love when the kids are involved. To be honest, most of the time, the kids are involved and want to see their parents comfortable and happy, and they're supportive of that. Sometimes, one time I had a guy call me. He said he didn't want his parents to do a reverse mortgage because he wanted to inherit the home and do a reverse mortgage when he turned 62. Yeah. So how can you defend that mentality, you know, of people just thinking of themselves? So it's what I face on a daily basis, and that's why I like it to be a family decision. I prefer when the whole family is involved.
No doubt. No, that's value there. And those that are watching, you want to learn more, it's all in this description. Don't forget to reach out to him, because it's important to know what you are going to end up having in the near future, if that's the route you go by. I want to also move to sports, man. How important is sports to you? And also, when you were younger, were you really into sports? Was it something that was driving you, back
So
then?
and I was always a street kid with sports, right? I played rec, but I never played like for the high school or anything. But me and my friends, I mean, growing up, every day after school was go play basketball for 3 hours. You know, I mean, the connections, we still talk about some of the fights we had or the good games we had. I mean, it was a healthy release for me still. And now I'm turning 44 in a few days. But still, I love to play basketball, and my wife's convinced I'm going to die on the court. And I told her I'm fine with that. That's as good a place as any. But, it's such a healthy release and escape. I enjoy it, and I'm just getting exercise and maintaining being healthy at the same time. So I love all sports, and you see how important they are. Like during COVID, when there was nothing to do,
Yes.
everyone was scared to leave the house. Luckily, the UFC, one of my favorite sports, mixed martial arts, and the UFC kept playing. They had that island. They kept fighting, and I mean, it was great. I mean, we look forward to that. It was one of the few things to look forward to. So yeah, I'm a big proponent of sports and learning how to lose and compete, everything.
It goes hand in hand with an entrepreneur, sales, the skills that you learn as, like you said, learning how to lose, having that rejection. Those are things that you have to deal with when you're younger, and you kind of instill those traits. And if you're not doing it properly, you're not gonna be able to be successful when you get older. It's
Right.
important to have that, and I agree. It's those that were involved with sports when they're younger can be very successful in sales and business and entrepreneurship when they're older because of all those skills they learned.
Oh yeah, and the connections and the networking just within the sports themselves. I was for a while there, my company. So I started with my company when we were in a room full of 6 people. Sean, and now we have about over 400. Um, so my company allowed me to be a supervisor, a branch manager, an assistant vice president, and all that, climb up the ladder. And then I realized, like I said earlier, you learn what you don't want to do. That was taking me away from what I loved to do, which was working with the clients, working with seniors and their families. So eventually I found that that's my path. That's what I want to do. But when we were hiring loan officers and salespeople, I used to joke that we should take them in the room and kick them in the stomach a bunch of times and see how many times they get up, you know. And if they keep getting up and keep getting up and keep fighting, that's someone that's the attitude you need, you know.
You need that because it's not easy. No matter what, every day you wake up, you don't have a guaranteed paycheck. I'm a teacher; I have guaranteed paychecks. When I have my businesses, those are not guaranteed. So you have to make sure you put some time in. You have to work. It's not easy, and it's something that will over time. If you're doing it and you're consistent, things are going to happen for you. That's a key thing people forget.
Sales will humble you, and you have to kind of change. You have to try a bunch of different things, right? And you have to realize that this isn't working. Let me try this. Let me test this. So you have to reinvent yourself or change once in a while if something's not working, but you have to just keep trying, you know?
I like the comment you had with going back to basketball and that you would die in the court and how health is important to you. Being a father and anyone that's watching that's a father, keeping your health in check is very important. That's what I found. It's something that I want to be that, father, grandfather, that's like, damn, that's your dad, that's your grandpa. Like I want people looking at because I think it's very important to keep ourselves in check, keep ourselves in shape, or try to at least, right?
I agree. Yeah, because all those issues, like growing up in your 20s, and you're partying and everyone's drinking and doing this or doing that. When you get into your 30s and 40s, if they're still doing that, that becomes serious problems. It becomes serious. Where now, like, uh-oh, you have a serious health problem. So yeah, you got to take that seriously. I remember I used to work out 6 days a week when I was in high school and growing up, and I just took one day off because I was forced to. You know, um, that has changed with kids, as I'm sure you know. But it's still very important to me to be active, whether it's running or sports or working out or lifting weights.
No, I agree. Doing things, I don't have time to go to the gym. I do all my stuff at home in my basement. I have
Right.
all the weights, et cetera, the bench and things like that. But doing it, being consistent with everything, being consistent with, your business, but with doing video like we're doing, sharing, giving value, not being afraid to put things out there so people can learn from us. That's what people forget. They don't understand how powerful what we're doing right now. If people actually implemented some of the things we're talking about, how it would change their life.
Right. It's that feeling, especially going to these networking events. We go to a lot of them, and I remember yours was awesome, and hopefully we do that again. But I didn't know anybody, right? And I would sit in the parking lot, and that voice in the back of your head says, "Just go home. You don't know anybody. Just go home." So when I hear that voice now, Sean, I do the opposite. I'm like, no, not. I'm forcing myself into uncomfortable situations because guess what? I met you, I met Antonio Fratellone. I met all those guys, and we still talk. We're still hustling. We're still networking. So even if I meet one person at an event, just get to know someone, it's worth it. It's worth it.
Doing it, and I like how you said that. People sometimes have that, like that little devil that's talking to you, like, don't do it, don't do it. You have better things to do. But getting outside your comfort zone, like Ryan just said, that's a key thing I've been talking about for a long time. Once you start living outside that, it changes you for the better. It allows and opens up doors, gives you opportunities. It gives you those people that you now can do business with, because otherwise you wouldn't have, because you wouldn't have walked through that door.
Absolutely. And it clearly it pays off. It pays off in the long run. I mean, I'm comfortable talking in a room full of any size, and in every which way, no matter what career you're in, no matter what field you're in, sales and personality are a part of it. I don't care what field you're in. If you, like, my wife's a teacher, she teaches in Bloomfield. She's, I love this. Like, she's getting involved in different things, Earth Day cleanup. She's getting involved. The superintendent's there. She's doing this and doing that. I'm like, boom. That's what it's about right there. If you're serious and that's your career and your profession, do that all the time and take it as far as you can, you know?
And here's something I've been noticing with you, Ryan. You've been doing a lot more video, and those that are popping in now. Charlene, I know Scott does a lot of video. Marlon's been doing some video. How important is video for you, and how has it been for your business?
So to me, the way the world is going is, technology, and they all talk about artificial intelligence and everything like that. So I see it as a channel. Like, we have different channels, right? Realtors, financial planners, accountants, attorneys. To me, social media and video is just as important as those other channels. And it reinforces to me, like LinkedIn, for example. I meet somebody, have a good relationship with them, talk to them, connect with them on LinkedIn. Now they start seeing my videos. It's like a reinforcement of what Ryan does.
Yep.
Because with the reverse mortgage, you don't come across a reverse mortgage prospect every day. So when you come across one, maybe one every 6 months, if you know what you're looking for in other professions. So my challenge is that when they do, that Ryan Phillip pops in their mind, and the videos and the LinkedIn and that's reinforcement. So, unfortunately, a lot of the older loan officers and some of those folks that aren't comfortable with technology, I don't know how they're going to adapt. They got to be really strong in the other areas if they're not going to adapt to technology at all.
You hit that on the head, because a lot of people, they have a fear. And I started doing video back in 2018, and it took some time to starting to see some opportunities come in. It took 6 months, and it's a snowball now. I have to continue doing it. My YouTube channel has almost 1,000 videos. There's some bad ones in there. There's some good ones. And now I have these podcasts. I have, opportunities. I've changed. I've grown, but it's something that it's over time. It's consistency, but it's also sharing value and not being afraid to give information to people. It's not going to, you can tell people exactly how to do something, but they won't do it. They won't take action. That's, right. You might have one or two people that might, if they really watch what we're doing, but okay, that's one or two of your competitors. Everyone else is not going to do it.
Right. Right. And I don't know what the future holds as the world goes more towards this, Shawn, or wherever it might be that I'm virtually in somebody's living room, in a few years. So if I don't adapt and take these steps, like we said in sales, if you don't adapt, change things, or try different things, you die,
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. We are running out of time, but I want to have you think about any technology that you're using that's helping you with your business right now that people should know about.
So with me being in field sales now, it's it's a lot of grassroots efforts, and some of these videos that you've seen and stuff is starting me trying to brand myself, right? So I came up with Ryan in reverse. It's like a little house, says Ryan in reverse. So I just went on a website, Zazzle, actually, if you've heard of it. So I customized these cards with Ryan in reverse, my business card information on the inside, my QR code. And so it's just something that simple. But some of my other loan officers, which I learned, the most I've ever learned in this business is from other loan officers, from other salespeople. That's why I love coordinating with them. Um, she writes those thank you cards. Like if I met you and you got a card from me, handwritten, Shawn, great to meet you. I look forward to, and you get that. It's just reinforcing it in a different way. Like the video reinforces it online. That's another reinforcement, and that means something. So it's not any kind of advanced technology really, other than I can compose these things myself, which is pretty cool. Like the card, it took me a few hours, but I put it all together. It's how I want it to be. So that would be something that is worth looking into.
Definitely. And anything that makes your life easier, it allows you to brand yourself. That's an important thing to do. And it's something that a lot of you got to start doing something, because everyone, like Ryan was saying, Ryan in reverse, you're creating your own personal brand. It doesn't matter what company you work for, it's
Right.
you who buys. That's why it's important to share your brand. I'm wearing my brand. It's important to make sure that you're promoting on a consistent basis no matter what. So it's very powerful. And Ryan, I appreciate you coming on. Those that are watching, if you're just hopping in now, wait till this uploads and watch from the beginning. Lots of value here. Those that have been with us the entire time, we thank you so much for being here. Don't forget, check out Ryan's information. It's in the description of this video. Ryan, why don't you share the disclosure so you can
Sure.
share your screen so that we can not have any issues for compliance for his company.
Thank you,
We,
sir.
we
All
want to make sure
right.
that that's up here, and we put this up here. Whoop, let
There
me
you
take this
go.
off. Hold on. Pop this off so everyone can see that. Those that are with us now, you don't have to read this. This is just for compliance issues.
Right.
And again, connect with Ryan on Webtalk. Connect with Ryan on all of his socials that we have in the description. He has, and if you want to talk to him and learn more about reverse mortgages, about being a dad, about being an entrepreneur, reach out to him. He's a great person. He will definitely take your call. And it's something that we are here to always help other individuals. So, Ryan, thanks so much for being with us, man.
I appreciate the opportunity, Shawn. You do a lot to help others, and it's appreciated. So thank you.
Stick around for a moment. For everyone else, thanks so much for being with us. And again, thanks, Ryan, for being with us. And have yourself an awesome rest of your day wherever you are.